Hi there, and welcome back to the sixth in the series of the Recovery webinar series with the Global DIY Summit. My name is Ken Hughes, and it's an honor to have you back. Thank you so much for all the comments and questions on social media and on the platform in the last number of weeks. I hope you all enjoyed your Easter break. And this session, I've really enjoyed all the sessions in the last few months, but this session you're really going to enjoy as much as I am. Obviously, you know that the 9th of June, the Global DIY Summit, we have had to postpone the event due to the current crisis again, and you know your colleagues in the DIY Summit are all busy looking for new dates, and that will work itself out in time, and they will let you know. Keep an eye on the website for the updated dates for the main event. But today, this is the purpose of this platform, that we keep in contact with each other, and today we have a fantastic session. The passion and the energy from our speaker today is going to be amazing. So Victoria Neuhofer, I'll invite you up on the screen. Pop up there for me, try on your camera and your microphone. We are going to, Victoria from Damn Plastic, you can even introduce yourself. How are you today?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I am very good. Where are you joining us from today?
Austria.
From Austria. Excellent. Yeah. How are things in Austria? You safe and well?
It's cold, rainy, snowy. Yeah, we're waiting for summer.
Okay. And corona-wise, what's the state of the economy there at the moment?
Well, lockdown. We still have the lockdown, but it's not in the entire, not in entire Austria, just like in different kind of districts. We have a full lockdown or just like a half lockdown.
Okay. And tell me about your lockdown story for the last year. How have you, what's the craziest thing that you've done in the last year during lockdown? Any new hobbies?
I founded Damn Plastic, which is exactly 1 year old. So we actually founded it 4 weeks before Corona. So before I knew that it will came up, I opened physical stores. So yeah, it was quite hard for me. At one side, Corona is helping me because as it comes to the awareness of sustainability and the entire just like climate crisis. Yeah. But on the other part, as it comes to the financial part, of course, like as the stores are closed, it hurts a lot, let's say, because you still have to pay your fixed costs, you still have your employees. Yeah. But I will get through that, and I'm happy to open 4 new stores in the next 3 months. Right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story. When I was researching my guest today, to look at someone bringing a retail business to life in the middle of a pandemic, opening stores, it just sounds, on one hand, it sounds crazy. On the other hand, it's so opportunistic, and so, there's an amazing drive. So today's session is all going to be about sustainability. Your title for today's session is The New Cool and Sexy Sustainable Way. I love it. So zero waste. So I'm going to give you the screen for a little while, and say, why don't you take us through the Damn Plastic story, and then let's have a chat. For everyone watching live, I know many of you are watching on demand, but if you're watching live today, make sure you pop some questions into the question box. I think it's on this side of the platform, in there somewhere, and we get the questions here to us. So keep those questions coming in throughout the webinar, and I will feed them through to Victoria as they come in. But for now, I'll give the screen share over to Victoria and give us an insight into what Damn Plastic's all about.
Yeah, I will just, so first, perhaps I'm just going to introduce myself, I'm Victoria Neuhofer. And I know that a lot of people knows me actually from our family business. So we are a manufacturer floor, wall, and seating accessories for over 375 years. So I'm the 11th generation already. But sustainability was always an important point. It was not only about greenwashing, because I would say, and perhaps it's a horrible number, but I would say 90% of the companies are just talking and hiding something and just really do greenwashing. In Austria, it's anyway a sustainable country, and so it's I grew up with recycling. I grew up to do the right thing. I grew up that it's normal to have in the company a waste management. It's for me normal that you have watercrafts to use your energy, etc. So this was always an important part. But what's changed in the last years is actually the health part of it. It's not only about the companies anymore. It's not only about the money, but actually it's about our bodies. Our bodies are getting sicker and sicker. The chronic sickness is everywhere, and young people just suffering. And this was the part why I started Damn Plastic, because I have a health problem since over 10 years right now. And I just getting aware of all the kind of chemicals and all the kind of microplastic that is just everywhere. I was just going a bit of crazy, I would say. Yeah. I was seeing it in the manufacturing process every day. I was walking through the production. I would say, okay, here is plastic, there's a chemical. Do we need that really? And so I actually thought how I can actually put the entire sustainability part in a more fun way, which was then Damn Plastic. But Damn Plastic, it doesn't mean damn plastic. It's damn cool plastic, because plastic itself is actually awesome. the material is like one of the best that we ever had, and it rules the world. Actually, it's a material that is everywhere and it rules the world, and it is cheap. It can be put everywhere. You can make everything from that. But the point is that we actually lost the total control of it, and we didn't thought about it, like what we're going to do at the end of the cycle. Like what happens when we produce the entire plastic, and when we have the entire product, what were we going to do with the trash? So this is where I jump in, and I will share now my presentation.
Okay, do.
About
Love your passion.
Thanks. Your one is awesome as well. Makes me happy. So, can you see my screen?
We can.
Cool. So, damn plastic. One of the most important part, and I really want to tell it like every time really, really loud, it's not about damn plastic, it's about damn people. I can't hear it anymore. Like everybody's talking about plastic is bad. No, it's not. It's actually just like the way how we treat it, the way like how we use it in our daily lives. And because I am convinced that people are actually too lazy and just like too convenient to change something by themselves, I want to do that for them. Like my company wants to do that for you, so you can be passively green, but still get a kind of awareness. So this is like just like a brief overview of what we are doing. So first of all, we have, as I mentioned, physical stores, of course, an online store as well. But what I created is a unique franchise system that every person can open without a huge amount of money. You just need about 10,000 euros and you can open a store. I'm going to show you some pictures of that. And because the name and the kind of way of the product that we are using and the corporations that we have, a lot of retailers ask me if I want to have like POS display, if I want to have like pop-up stores within their stores so they can have, let's say, a sustainability stamp on them. So we develop like own retail system for the DIY. I'm going to show you that one as well. And on the other part, we do have company audits. So I check if they can do something better. It starts like actually from the manufacturing process to like really easy parts within the company, like how the employees are eating every day. Do they have a canteen? Do they have like a reusable system, or do they really have like plastic bags and plastic bins every day? Just like to make some examples. And how it's actually started was with events. So we do organize the events, or we help organizers of events to make them totally green. The goal is before you get into the festival or before you go on an exhibition, with your ticket, you actually supported the entire supply chain in that way that it's eco-green. So it's like CO2 leveled or even in the plus, because all the products that are used to make the events, like banners, eco banners, it's not like plastic banners. The banner should be recycled. The banner should be made up from cleaning up. So to keep everything what is in the exhibition part or at the event in a circle is like the main goal. And this is like where we help out. And last but not least, sustainable packaging. I think packaging is one of the most important parts right now, because everything is packed, but not only like, let's imagine just like a Coke bin. In China, you can buy the Coke bin, just not the bin. It's packed in a bag, in a plastic bag. And this plastic bag is again packed in a plastic box. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And such examples are like every day. You just need to work through the DIY store, just like walk by and see where is unnecessary package, like which product are unnecessary packed with plastic. And they are like every second one, I would say, like 100%. It's insane and it's crazy. And this is like where we also jump in. I know more than 200 different kind of partners in the packaging industry right now. So let's say we cross-check them. I know the new material and I knew the manufacturer of the new product, and I just like connect them so they can actually make a better alternative as it comes to packaging, or in general to make a new design of the packaging. Because again, it's not about the plastic part. It's important that it's recycled, and it's important that it is recyclable. And the main products are just like you cannot recycle them. And I actually prepared a super easy example of the grocery retail chains. So what they started to do, and we know that they are way quicker than the DIY as it comes to also to sustainability, but also all the other parts, I really have to say that. So what they started to do is actually, when we take about a yogurt can, it's normally it was like totally printed. It was just like some logos on it, etc. You could not recycle them. You first would need to wash it, to clear it, to actually put it back into the cycle. What they do now is to have just like 100% recycled plastic I don't know, is it a bin or how you say it in English? And on the other part, you just need to do that one. Can you see that? And then you just like can recycle the paper. And there is no glue on it, so you can really 100% recycle that. And I think this is like the main point, that all the products that we have to like what we can buy in a store needs to be organized in a way or designed in a way that the end consumer can really easily recycle that. Because as I said, people are just like lazy. They don't want to like take care about like, can I recycle, can I not recycle it? You need to make it recyclable and easy understandable for the end consumer what they can do. So yeah, this is just like an example. So just keep that part. This is like one of our stores. Everything is made from upcycled materials, so there is nothing new inside, and mainly everything is made from carton. And the product that you see, like this is the main part. I want that person can be passively green, passively sustainable. I do not want to show on people with the finger and say like, how dare you? Because this is not like the sense. You need to show that sustainability can be cool, it can be fun. So when customers walk into my store or buy from the POS display, for example, whatever they buy, they make an impact. And that's the point. Every product that we have in the stores or online or when we connect like B2B businesses, all of the products have an impact. That means they support cleanups. The material itself is trash. So we make like from trash a new product, which is super, super important to keep the cycle. So when for example, and I like to show that example, when a snob is coming into the store and they just want to buy a bag because the bag is beautiful, and she's buying the bag, and then I tell them, you know what, you just like collected 150 kilograms of plastic trash from the landfills. They're just like starting to get happy and just like think, like they are getting more aware, like why she bought that bag. Now, should she the next time come again into the store and buy something else instead of buying it somewhere else with no impact? And this is like the main goal, just like to even show people that are not like into the sustainability part, they still can be sustainable, because I do not want to convince actually people that are already eco, you know, like those that just like, you know, like more eco. Like the typical part, like when you think that they are like that. I want to actually have all the other 99% of people that just like think, okay, I'm not telling that plastic is bad. I'm actually telling, okay, the person is bad itself, but I'm not really telling them like directly. They just like find new products, and they always have like the EHA effect. I work with a lot of startups that have products before, like I get them before they are in the market, because I'm supporting the crowdfunding campaigns, for example, and I give them the chance to already try their first product in the store before they just like go, for example, international. So this is like one of the coolest parts. This is an example how we are at the grocery chains. So it just like, it looks a bit more fancy. People need to like to step by and just like see, okay, what's that? What is damn plastic? And that's the first cool reaction what they have. And then they just like see, okay, they can find all products for every kind of lifestyle that you have. You can find a product that actually replace the typical product that you would buy, but it's even better, or just like same, but have the better packaging and have the better impact. So what about the zero waste DIY? We have in Germany a project where we have a POS box, which is under the motto, your trash is my treasure. So everything what is in the box is actually made out of treasure, made out of trash. That is actually then a treasure. On the other hand, it helps you to reduce the trash that you have. And this is like some kind of examples that I want to show you, like what is really like possible today. On the left side, you see like GIY, which means grow it yourself. It's a new thing, let's say, to make your own DIY projects. And this is like new packaging made of mushroom. It's one of the companies that I'm gonna introduce you in the live sessions that I also will have here at the DIY network. It just like, it can replace everything what is, from example, like in the packaging, in the online packaging made from plastic, or like those bubble foils, or on the other part also like styropor, which is just like replaced by the mushroom part. And the cool thing is that every company can grow their own packaging. Like you just need to plug and play it and just like grow your own packaging. And after you use that, you just like can break it down and put it into your flowers, or just like it's just gonna disappear in water, which is cool. And on the other part, they are also like parts that are from recycled materials. So like the trash ties, it means that no matter which kind of trash it is, they're just like squeezed together and you can rebuild something. First of all, it looks also fancy, as you see here. And on the other part, the important part is to actually collect the trash that we already have, because it's here. When you think about plastic, when you throw it away, I mean, what is throwing away? There is just no away. It will always stay here on the planet. Even if it's like, if we're gonna tell them after 10,000 of years, it starts to biodegrade, it's not, it's still in the air, you know, it still lands as microplastic. Every piece that was ever produced, it will always last forever. And that's like the sad thing, and the sad story that nobody think about. So the point is to actually, if we already are producing the plastic and if we use it already, and there are a lot of industries where we cannot get rid of it, and I totally understand it, but at least like take the trash that we have, convert it into new products, and everything what is new produced needs to stay in the cycle. Like otherwise we just like, I don't know, we can swim then in the plastic parts. It will not change. So what we have here is a plastic bottle cutter on the left side. You can use your plastic bottles that you already have and convert them into like strings. And with that is like all the kind of DIY stores that you would do with a string, you can do it with that plastic bottle. And just to imagine one plastic bottle, if you have like then 20 centimeters, for example, of the band that you made, you can even make a connection between two trucks and it will just like stand. So it's a really, really durable one. And on the other part, also like what you do with glass bottles. A lot of companies are just like skipping from plastic bottles to glass bottles, which is not more sustainable, not at all. It actually uses way more CO2 than the plastic bottle, but it's still here. So why not giving the customers actually like an idea what they can do with the trash? So again, your trash is my treasure. You can always do something from that. And I think the trend, like upcycling trend, is here. And on the other part, if you connect it also like to sustainability, to reduce the trash overall, plus of course additionally collect like trash from cleanups that you support with every like product that you have in store. I think it's a win-win situation. So you just like need to communicate it better. And yeah, one part is stickers and a lot of packaging materials that are really unnecessary. There are paper bands that are totally fine and even better. Like seriously, they're just like holding as how. And on the other part, we need, if you need to have like the transparent part, which is still for me a marketing part, but if you really need that, they are already compostable parts. And here it's really important to actually explain your stuff and also explain like the customers. Biodegradable is not the same as compostable, and compostable doesn't mean home compostable or industrial compostable. There are so many different kind of ways, and a lot of people just like read compostable and they think it's like sustainable, but it's not. It needs to go to an industry machinery. And the point is that we in Europe, we don't even have the correct machinery to compost it totally, which means that, for example, a banana needs to be in such machinery like for 6 months, like industrial composting machines, that's the correct word. But they just like staying there for 30 days and then that starts burned. So now imagine like all the kind of PLA plastic, bioplastic, compostable plastic that are now in the trend, which again are not more sustainable as it comes to the entire circle. They will not disappear. They still need to go to such machineries, and we do not have them for such a long time. So we would need to have them at least 6 months there, but we don't. So that's not a solution at all. But still, it's a better step as it comes to the awareness. So always like think about the two parts and explain your customer what does it mean compostable and what is mean home compostable, so they can really put it at your home compost, and on the other part, which one needs to go into the bio bin to get actually to the right circle. Yeah, here is the example of that kind of sticky gummies, which are made of recycled trash, and you can just like put all the kind of sticks together. You can use it like for kids project or in the gardening project, just like to show that again we can do actually something from plastic trash and convert it into a new life. And on the right side, it's a bit more household, but the point is that a lot of people just like using one-time cling foils, which is totally insane, instead of just like reuse the bags that they have to, in general, reduce the trash. One of the companies that I also want to introduce in the live session is the company Good Bag. that shows how you can connect your customer in a more, let's say, cooler way as it comes to sustainability. You have like a bag with an impact. It's not only like taking points where you can like get some rabbits or something, but with every time when I use this bag, every time, it doesn't matter where I go shopping, every time where I use this bag, I plant a tree, which is cool. And I can also decide, like, do I want to plant a tree? Do I want to actually collect 1 kilogram of plastic or 2 kilograms of plastic from the trash? Or do I want to support a social project? So it's in the customer's hand what they have, like where the money will go into which impact, and they can do it all the time, and all the time again. So you can just like bind them as well with the bag, but this will be just like in the next session. Yeah, another cool example. I mean, it's barbecue time. I think a lot of people just now will start to have some barbecues. Why always having plastic plates or plastic cutlery? Why do not we have like all eatable stuff? We have like eatable plates, eatable cups, eatable cutlery. Everything can actually disappear if you want to. We just need to offer that product. Or it's one of my favorites. It's the Agreena. It's a totally elastic silicone foil on algae basis, so it's plant-based. And you can have it forever, like you have it forever, and you can bake, you can wrap everything around it and just like store it as well, freeze it. And I think this is like this is the product that in my kitchen is sparing like the most trash that I like in the kitchen. I produce a lot of trash, and since I have this one, it's like definitely better because you need no baking paper anymore, no aluminum foil, no cling foil. And if you think that like every baking papers on the world are covered with plastic, that's insane. It's going to our food. It's like, it's not only destroying our bodies, it's just like, it's also for the environmental bad. So it's not a win-win AF. So, but it's totally horrible if you just like think about it, where it's everywhere hidden. So yeah, that's always my provocative last part. It's if you're too busy to care about the environment, well, it's not really cool for that situation that we have right now. And we need to definitely change that. And the point is, there is a solution. There are products, there are so many companies that actually have the solution. We just need to start to use them and not only looking at the cheapest production way.
And that's what I'm going to start with. By the way, thank you so much. That was an amazing tour of what you do. I have the first thing I think of is, how does Victoria go food shopping? Like, what supermarket? I mean, have you changed completely the way you live your life in every aspect? So obviously we're going to talk about DIY in a bit more. But like when you walk down a supermarket aisle now, are you different to 3 years ago in terms of how you choose? Do you choose different ways to live? Does it affect every part of your life?
Yeah, well, that's the point. What I want to try to show is that sustainability doesn't have to mean that I need to change my lifestyle. Okay. I'm not against plastic. I'm against the people, how they treat it, how they put it under the ground without thinking about it. I'm against the companies that are producing trash without thinking about it, if I can recycle it or not. Because it's definitely it's not necessary to use plastics that are not recyclable. It doesn't make sense. Just because price-wise, I understood, for example, that a lot of people a good example because of the grocery. A lot of people are asking why the cucumbers, is it English? Yeah, cucumbers are wrapped in plastic. Okay.
Yes.
That's a question that of course, like I understand that why they ask it, but on the other side, if we wouldn't pack the cucumbers in the plastic, we would use more than 24% more CO2 in the production of the cucumbers. Why? Because a lot of them would be destroyed, and they need a lot of energy to grow. They need a lot of water. So the point is to always look at the entire circle. So now, after I know this fact, I will not buy a cucumber without the foil, because I want to actually make an impact somewhere. So if I have this information,
I agree.
I know how to decide.
Yeah, I mean, having the full information, I think, is a really fair point. I think one of the things that you've opened up here that I want to touch on is microplastics, because I don't think everyone's, at the same level in terms of knowledge on microplastics. So you opened up today by talking about health issues, that microplastic was everywhere, that it's going into our bodies, what you just said there about, the idea of your food touching the baking sheet and the plastic. So let us know a little bit, because you obviously have done all the research on the effect of microplastics on the body.
Yeah, well, I think I will tell you 3 facts that are insane. 89%, sorry, it's German, 98% of all the persons on the world have plastic in the urine. You are going to the toilet every day, and if you test it, you have a lot of microplastic in there, which is just a small part that is getting out of the body. All the other rest is just like sticking in our kidneys and in our liver, where it cannot get out. And the point is why people are getting like sicker when they are old, or why they're having cancer and stuff. It's not about cancer. It's about that the person, like the body itself, it cannot heal anymore. It cannot like detox enough, because we are getting it from everywhere all the time. We are having it in our toothpaste. Microplastic is in our toothpaste. Why? Because it's cheaper if we put a lot of like plastic in that. It's like also with the air, everything. It's just that they need to use less resources to actually give the same product out. So it's also again about the money. Every chewing gum, 70% of the chewing gum is plastic. Every time when we spit it on the ground, when the rain is coming, we are taking, it's going directly into our landfills, where our biological food is growing. Again, we are eating it. It doesn't matter actually if you buy biological or not, both have the same amount of microplastic. The difference is just like the other one has some chemicals on it on the top and the other is not, but it's like everywhere in our air. Another shocking fact is that we have actually, like every week you're eating 4 grams of plastic, just like with the air, with the food. It just like, it has to be logical that someday it's gonna be like too much. And I'm 100% sure that the evolution will just like, you know, adapt to that part. Like in 150 years, the next bodies will just like have perhaps bigger veins, because our veins are just like stick now with the chemicals. And that's why we have actually a lot of other different kind of sicknesses, but nobody's talking about, you know, the doctors cannot even explain it, because they are not used to chronic diseases. They can just like, you know, heal your broken arm or something, but we do not know that long-term effects on that, what we are doing now. And I think this is like the most problem. Now we know that, like, it's getting more and more in the news, and especially my generation, like over 80% are actually willing to pay more to have like a more sustainable product, or to make an impact with every product, because they know that it's getting worse. And my sister, she's 18 right now, she's like really scared. Like she's saying like, I do not know what to eat every day. I do not know what to shop every day. I do not know which kind of clothing I'm using, because it's like full of the chemicals that you're putting into your body. And that's, I think it's not fair as it comes to the customer, because for now we were just like, it was just a lie all the time. Like this is like, let's say everyone was using marketing in a way to tell us what's good for us. And I'm doing the same now with Dem Plastic. I'm using the marketing to actually convince people to buy it. But this time I am doing it with the correct way. I'm also manipulating them, if I can say so, because I want them to buy at my store. But I have a purpose behind that. And I think that every store, every retailer should at least like include products that make an impact. And that
let's talk about that bit, because that's really what I think what most people listening today are going to be thinking. I mean, you're either a retailer listening to this, as you're a DIY retailer, you could be a global player listening to this, or you're a brand and your products are being sold in DIY chains all over the world. Whichever one of those audience you are, you now have an ability, of course, to make a change. So what's your own opinion personally of the DIY industry as you walk around the store, whether looking at the store or whether it's looking at the brands? Remember, these are stores selling corrosive materials and paints and chemicals, and you know it's bad enough as an industry maybe. What's your opinion on the industry as an outsider looking in? You know, where are we in terms of sustainability? Are we in the middle? Are we bad? Are we okay?
Yeah. So first,
your own opinion.
I'm just like I'm not new into this. Like I was born in the DIY industry. And I always was saying that it is too slow. And I really want to emphasize it once again. We are always like, because I am the industry as well. The point is that we are always just like hanging around afterwards. We just like look at the other retail chains, for example, the grocery chain. When they make like first steps, we try to do something.
But let me rephrase the question, because you actually started by talking about Austria being better than everyone else anyway. And when you said that you were in the family business and you already had a sustainability outlook in that as a culture maybe. So let's rephrase the question globally then. So like, you know, what's your opinion on global DIY? To sort of step out of Austria and even Europe, look at the States, look at elsewhere, LATAM. Now, your opinion on, you reckon it's behind the curve significantly?
Well, I would not say so, because the product that we are buying in the DIY stores also in Austria are coming all from China. We are buying everything in China. We are buying it like what is really annoying me is that the DIY industry, and I really have to be honest, like they are squeezing the manufacturers to make like the cheapest prices. So we need to buy things like in Asia, for example, to hold the price. And every year we need to like lower the price, which sometimes if you need to innovate, then it's like not enough there to actually make a better choice to buy a better glue, for example, which is like more sustainable, but it's more like it costs more, or to change the packaging. Everything what we need to do, it's like it costs money. And if they cut it every year, sometimes you cannot like, do a better thing. So and the same is happening now, like after, and I just to let you know, 5 years ago when I had the first presentation at the DIY Summit, I said start to use or use products that are more sustainable, that are actually explaining I'm talking about my generation, Y and Z, and like the latest baby boomers. We want to have such products. And now when it's again almost too late, we start to do something. And there are a lot of projects now, and I am not allowed to say the name, but the retailers, the DIY retailers, making like sustainability projects right now. But in my eyes, it's only like a project that manufacturers, that like the suppliers need to do now. And they are just like, again, like pushed that we need to change something, and quick and cheap and still sustainable. It just like, it doesn't work like that. First, like the last years, they pushed us to make everything cheap. And now they want us like, it's like as it would be our fault now that we have like messed everything up and just like have everywhere plastic and like chemicals, etc., to be cheap. And now we should like come out of the hole and make it cheap again. It doesn't make sense, and it's making me really annoyed that it is as it is right now. I think to be better now, both sides needs to work together and stop like just like taking the ideas from the manufacturers or taking the ideas now also from the end consumers, because also such products are right now out there that they are taking the ideas of the young people and just like steal them in a kind of way, and put the stamp on it and tell the word I'm sustainable now without like.
You also mentioned the words cool and fun along the way a lot, and your brand very much stands for that. Okay, so you're right. You don't want to talk, as you said, to the 1% of eco warriors anyway. You want to talk to the 99%. You want to talk to the people who are in. So post-pandemic, I think I agree with you when one of your opening statements was that our health surely is a bit more on the agenda now for us. So sustainability hopefully in the future becomes a little bit more owned by everybody as opposed to owned by just those eco warriors. So in your own stores, for instance, what are the products that people who are that kind of just average shopper tend to walk out with? What are the hero products that think, oh wow, look at this, and the kind of that is that cool, fun, sustainable thing without being boring, sustainable, that you're giving up something? What are the things that sparkle?
In general, we have over 3,000 different kind of products, and every product, like we have products for the kitchen, we have products for the bathroom. So for example, if you talk about cleaning products, you do not need to buy every time a new bottle. You just have one bottle forever now, and just like take a tap and put it into the water. So it's like, the point is that they are doing the same thing in their lives, the same thing, like the same lifestyle that they had. They just like use another product now, and they want to have a bag because they want to have a nice bag. They're buying the bag, but not because they are eco. They are buying the bag because it's beautiful, and by the way, supported a cleanup. So every product is made from a cleanup, or support a cleanup, or support a social project. So you cannot like buy wrong. And that's the point. You do not go into my shop because you want to buy something sustainable. It is sustainable anyway. But if you talk about like the main product that I showed you, that's the foil here. Because first of all, I'm the only one in Europe that has that. There are different kind of sizes, and you are always needing baking paper. You're using daily cling foil. You're using daily aluminum foil, and it's just like you don't have to. You can really replace it with something that you have forever without changing your behavior. And I think that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, for me, a lot of these products, when I think about a shopper moving around a DIY store, we always talk about in retail that impulse spend. So as a retailer, and DIY is a lovely spot for this. So someone comes in for one thing and leaves obviously with 3 or 4 items, and that's all incremental spend. To us, it's incremental profit. And a lot of the products that you're talking about there would be beautifully cited close to checkout, where you've got time to read the story, you've got time to throw it in the basket, and I don't think there'd be anyone that wouldn't read, let's say, the information you've talked about there on the baking sheet and throw one in the trolley. Why wouldn't you? And so that kind of additional, it ticks all the boxes for everybody, because the consumer gets a new product, the retailer gets incremental spend, and then also the manufacturers in terms of packaging. I want to come back to that. So the mushroom packaging series. So I suppose I should share with people. So you're going to do a couple of series for us on sustainability. So you're going to be talking on the
I have here one
dates here on the 22nd of June and the 5th of May. So we're going to deep dive into those anyway. But does it frustrate you when you come back to talking about money, that the people listening to this will believe everything you say and then log off the call and just go back to normal?
Yeah, because it's always about the money. I mean, nothing will change in that. Like, as I said, like we are used to that behavior that we have now. For us, it's normal that we just like buying a bottle every, I don't know, 5 times per day. When you, for example, are flying a lot, you're buying all the time something packed like in single use without thinking about where to recycle it, because we do not have the possibility to do it correctly. But if we just like would start like with small steps, it would be definitely easier. On the other part, when I said nobody will change, then it's our job, like with the retailers, because we are offering the product, and it's our job as the manufacturers to keep the cycle, that we use recyclable materials already, that we use the trash that we already have. We do not need all the time new packaging. And the point is, for example, if we are talking about plastic corners, I wanted, like, seriously, it's not since like last year that I'm trying to do something better. I offered our retail customers like 5 years ago already to actually make a repat packaging, and it costs 1 cent more. 1 cent, you know, It's 1 cent that the end consumer will definitely pay. But they said no, because it's not necessary, because the government did not say so to do so. And it's like really annoying. If we do not make the first step, nothing will change till it really hurts. And this is like the main part. It will hurt, and then we start to do something. That's like typical human, correct? And I believe I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't have my opinion as I have now without having my health issues, like 100% not. And it just like, it's because I have something, I started to change something. But I believe that we do not really have to change every person to make something. I believe that we just need to give them the correct product. And if it is like, if it is a really shitty product, that at least like, I don't know, 5% of them are just like invested in saving, I don't know, a kind of social project, or at least like planting some trees or whatever, just like to equal balance our shitty behavior.
Yeah, I mean, look, I suppose I disagree in a way, in that I don't believe that behaviors are that difficult to change sometimes. Generally, I agree with you, but the pandemic has, if anything, has taught us that when we need to change, we change. I mean, so, we all suddenly need to wear face masks in every retail space in the world. If you'd said that 2 years ago, I'd have laughed at you, but now it just happens because it has to happen.
That's the point what I said, because it hurt.
Yeah,
that's the point. Because something happened, we need to change right now.
Because you could die, you wear a face mask. So I suppose the learning here for every retailer and every manufacturer listening is, let's not wait to the point of hurt. And we're in this unique position where we can actually make a significant change, both to people's health and to their perception of our brand from sustainability. So even if you want to just do it, as you said, for greenwashing purposes, even if you want to do it just for political purposes, knowing that it also helps people's health and mental well-being and the planet, it still makes sense, doesn't it? You get the corporate hit, you get the profit and the market share that follows with that, hopefully, by your sustainable positioning, but you also get to help people. So there's a moral piece in here as well.
I mean, you can see the services, like not services, I mean surveys, like companies that make sustainable steps and that actually communicate them in the like correct direction. Like, people are more into that company, and they would choose to buy actually from that company, not from another. And just to emphasize, we just are starting that part. It's just starting, like the entire sustainability, zero waste part. It's just like we are at the beginning of the entire process, and there will be restrictions. And it's not only about banning single-use straws or banning single-use plates or banning single-use bags. It's gonna be there is gonna be a plastic I don't know how it is in English, like that you would need to pay like 2 to 4% per year for the plastic trash that you're producing at your store or at your manufacturing part. It's not something that is like maybe, it's something that is already written down in the EU, that it will come and you will pay for that if you do not if you do not care about the trash that you're producing, because we will go under the entire trash, and that's the point. And then they will start to do so. But what I do not understand is if there are possibilities already as it comes to the packaging, is that there are so many cool materials. I could just like die for that every day. There are so cool things that we can actually just like replace it. It's not about doing something else. It's not about changing. It's just like replace something to make an easier, you know, end up of the life cycle of the product that we are using. Because we are not only talking about the trash that is like in the DIY stores, in the B2B chain, or in the first part of the supply chain, we are also talking about what is the end consumer doing. We cannot control that. So we need to give them the opportunity to first make less worse impact already, like if it's like virgin plastic, for example, and on the other part to give them the possibility to understand how we can recycle that. And it's not only the business of the manufacturer, it should be like a both side part.
Yeah, yeah. And we all have our stories. I mean, look, yesterday I was doing a small DIY job. I needed 2 small little brackets, and they came in a plastic thingy, which, you know, they could have easily come in a small little cardboard box. I knew what I wanted. And a lot of the DIY trade stuff, we know what we want. And so all we need is a picture on the outside of a cardboard box. We don't even need a picture. We might even need a text description printed on that box. We know what it is. We do not need a large piece of plastic. Now there's theft and there's wastage and all sorts of issues as well. But yeah, it is frustrating. I have a question here from Jacques. Jacques says, you mentioned company audits. How many of your recommendations do companies actually follow through with? Good question. So yeah, so when you go into a company and you do that audit that you talked about, do they actually listen, or do they say, yeah, interesting, yes, okay, back to normal?
Yeah, so the question is actually pretty easy. So I do not like send my invitation to make an audit. Like I actually just like said, I'm making them, and the companies that are actually calling me and want to make a change, I go there and we really make a change.
Okay.
Definitely like that. I do not like just like send 100,000 of emails and say, hey, I'm gonna make an audit. Do you want to do something? I just really work with companies that really want to do something and are really willing to invest the time and the money. It's not only, I don't want to say that it always like costs more money, because that's not true. Just think about like all the kind of folders that you are printing. All the folders, 99% of all folders that you have are actually covered with plastic because they look nicer. But if you print them actually on natural paper, and it's also FSC certificated without all the kind of lacquering and special factors, etc., it costs less. So it's actually at the end it's going to be a balance anyway. But you just need to have the time first to listen to the parts that are here, to listen also to the startups that are out there, because there are so many cool companies. I mean, I have every day like the aha wow effect, because it's like yesterday it was a new material that just like seriously disappear in the air after just like open, and it's coming with the oxygen. It's just like disappearing packaging. So it's insane what is happening out there. So you just need to take the time first to understand what is possible. And it's not only about like changing everything from now to tomorrow. You need to make small sustainable choices, let's say. Small steps are bringing a huge effect. If just everyone would like print 10 pages less in the companies everywhere, just like imagine in the entire world, 10 pieces of paper less, it's more than 10,000 tons of wood. And I'm a wood engineer, I love wood. So it's just to make small things. And if a company's called and they really want to do something, they are doing these changes. I do not talk that they are taking all of them. We are making like small parts, bigger parts, like let's say 1 year, 2 years, 5 years to 10 years changes, because there are a lot of changes like in the machinery that you really need to also invest like money to, for example, use like less wrapping plastics, etc. So there is a plan for different kind of scenarios, and those that are manageable now, they are doing it now.
Yeah, well, if I had a large company, I'd definitely have you in. Okay, here's another question from Raynar. Are you really sure that we do not have to change our behaviors? Higher prices without growing budgets means restrictions in my consumption. That's a complicated question. Find the question of that. Are you sure we don't have to change our behaviors? Higher prices without growing budgets means restrictions in my consumption.
I think I understood it.
Yeah.
first of all, of course, there needs to be a change, but I do not think that it's the correct way as it is done now in the news, like every day. Plastic is bad. How dare you? The entire climate crisis is killing us, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the wrong way because everybody's annoyed about the topic instead of showing it actually that it's something necessary, but it can be, as I said, cool. And it doesn't, like the main part is that that the people need to understand it doesn't mean that I have to be like an eco warrior. It doesn't mean that I have to stop taking my car, or it doesn't mean that I have to stop going on vacation. It's just like to make different kind of steps in where it doesn't annoy you first. I mean, this would be such a huge impact. Just like imagine if people would stop using baking paper. It's insane. And it like those small parts that really do not change your behavior because I'm baking as I always did, or I'm going, of course, what is new is that I'm going shopping with my bag. I do not buy a new bag every time when I go shopping. So of course, there are small kind of changes in your behavior, but it's not like going from today to tomorrow and be like totally eco-friendly and not shaving your legs anymore. You know, it's not the point. The point is to be as you are, but change some like smaller things that does not like change your character or annoying you at all. And then from that part, I mean, your awareness is growing. It's growing anyway. And then you start automatically do other things better. I tell you another example. It's like when you flush in your toilet, there are two dots, like a smaller one and a big one. And I was always using the left one just because I was used to it. And it was the bigger one, so more water. And after I just like started the plastic part and I was thinking about my CO2 part, I'm using now the small one. Mm-hmm. And it's a small thing, but it's still perhaps like, I don't know, 500 milliliters of water that I spare every time when I go to toilet. Yeah. So it's of course, it is a little bit of change. And of course, you need to pay for some products that are reusable more, but you have them away a longer time. And if you, I don't know, if you compare like a plastic box that is in the DIY stores that you can buy for your food, like the storage parts that are just a side thing. They're also like have inside a plastic cover again, which is unnecessary. But you have this box now and you have the reusable box now. I mean, of course, the customer sees like 10 euros, 1 euro. Okay, mainly we take like 1 euro. But if you just like, I don't know, put a small part there and say, if you buy this one and you buy it like 100 times per year, you're spending 100 euros instead of just like 10 once. So it's just about.
I think there's definitely. I think if I was a retailer, I'd definitely bring you in to look at and a behavioral economist at the same time to look at, okay, you know, how do we put those messages? Because you're a marketing person, you get this, you know. So we have to frame it in a sexy, cool way. Just like you've said there, you have this behavior, this is what you get. And I think, again, there's places in our DIY stores that we can have those conversations and we can make a difference. And we can, and again, I always look for a win-win-win. You know, the consumer can't be beaten over the head with kind of, oh, you must do this, because we don't react that way. Similarly, manufacturers, we all know the price pressure we're under. So there is a reality of that, but at the same time, there's a moral standpoint surely to say, okay, what can we do? And I think the mushroom example is a really good one. How many times have we all opened the packaging to find a huge amount of styrofoam and plastics inside? And really, you know, it's necessary to keep the good inside safe. But really, as you said, there's so many other ways, so many new ways of packaging. So we really need to adapt to that. So let me wrap up by saying that Victoria is going to join us in the Global Network for 2 sessions. Isn't that right? You've got 2 coming up. You've got one in May, one in June. So I've got the notes here, I think. So the one in May, you're going to talk to us about your Good Bag. So yeah, that's fantastic. So I think that's an amazing company. And so you're going to introduce us to that concept. And are you joined by a guest from the Good Bag? Is it just yourself?
Oh, yeah. Both companies, the founders are going to actually.
Brilliant. So you're going to talk to the founder of the company. That's fantastic. So that's the 5th of May. So everyone should tune in for that one. And then on the 23rd of May, you're going to talk about that mushroom grown bio product, which I think is amazing. I'm going to definitely tune in for that one. I'm really fascinated by that.
And I love the fact that well.
Yeah, and you can compost it afterwards. So you'll do deep dives into that. So there are 2 sessions on the 5th of May and the 23rd of May with Victoria. So basically, you're taking over my slots at the moment for the next 2 months. How dare you? No, it's fantastic. I love it. I'm going to be tuning in to listen to those as well. Victoria, it's been a pleasure having you today. And thank you so much for your passion, for your energy, for education. I'd love to, the minute I can come to Austria, I will be there to visit your store. So how you said you're going to open 4 more stores next week?
Yeah, we have 3 stores now and 5 pop-ups. And we are just like on a project on an eco-mall. And we will open 3 new stores in the next 3 months, like every month 1. And we have 11.
In Europe? Where are those stores? Where are the main stores
in Austria, Germany, and our franchisers are going to open in July and in August in Luxembourg and in Leipzig and in Amsterdam.
Okay.
and the others are just like, we have so many franchise inquiries, but you can just like forget, because not everyone is just like, like, yeah, you know what I mean. And on the other part, it's still Corona, a lot of lockdown countries, so we just like started to postpone all the kind of openings. So it's a bit sad first year, but I think nothing worse can happen to myself right now. So if I made it from that hole, I can manage everything else as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the pop-ups in DIY, the pop-ups in other retail environments, I think that's definitely the way to go. If I'm a retailer, I'd definitely be ordering those in straight away. I think post-pandemic, people are going to be looking for that sustainable, healthy living. And anything that will give them that.
I see it in the inquiries every day.
Yeah,
so
I think it's going to be fun. So Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to your sessions myself. I'll be dialing in, and I hope everyone else will be.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
And for the rest of you still listening, obviously the 9th of June, our main conference has slipped away from us. But as a surprise, the folks at the Global DIY Summit have put together an event on the 9th of June, because let's face it, in our calendars, we all would have been in Copenhagen in the expo having a drink and having a chat. So they're going to do that virtually for us. And so Manu, Igor Monitor, and a keynote for myself, I'll be popping up again on the 9th of June. And we're going to have a session and to debate and discuss where we are in the pandemic. And we're going to look at the market, look at the consumers again. So, that date won't slide by. We'll still keep our connections as we have in the last 6 months via the Global DIY Network. Coming up, a couple of other events for you to mark in your diary, as well as Victoria ones. So John Herbert is doing his Meet the CEO interviews. They're always fantastic. Next one is on the 21st of April with Veronica Valdez from ProMart in Peru. I think she's the first female CEO actually of Intercore Retail, which are a Latin America chain. So do tune in for that on the 21st of April. And until the 9th of June, I'll be popping up again, and make sure you tune in to Victoria's sessions in May and June also. Until then, I'm Ken Hughes. Stay safe.